Lost films, as well as Academy Award nominated and winning features, shorts, and documentaries. She recently supervised restorations of Marcel Ophel's The Memory of Justice, Louis Milestone's Seven Sinners, and The Perfect Woman starring Constance Talmadge. Please welcome Heather Linville.
Good morning. Are there any Chester Morris fans out there?
Woo!
Are there any Billy Dove fans out there?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm so excited to be here this morning to present to you the restoration of the uncensored version of Howard Hughes' produced film, Cock of the Air, directed by Tom Buckingham. The film is a seductive cat and mouse game starring Chester Morris as an American ace pilot, Lieutenant Roger Craig, and Billy Dove portraying a French actress of the stage, Lily de Rousseau. The film was released in January 1932, not too long after the production code was established in Hollywood. Led by conservative Will Hayes, the studios banded together to establish a self-imposed code as a way to improve the wholesomeness and purity of motion pictures. As we know, Hughes had some famous battles with the code over films he produced and or directed, like The Outlaw from 1943 and his 1932 gangster film Scarface. Howard Hughes saw the code as something to break. This was no different for Cock of the Air. A detailed history of Hughes' fight over Cock of the Air is found in the production code papers at the Academy's Margaret Herrick Library in Beverly Hills. In over 138 pages, we learn that Hughes was warned as early as the script development phase to rein in salacious dialogue. Will Hayes felt that if sinful themes were not removed, quote, a large amount of a very charming comedy which forms a part of these sequences is likely to be tainted for the consumption of a unsophisticated audience. End quote. Another key concern was Chester Morris's character, Lieutenant Roger Craig. A member of the censorship board refers to him as, quote, a philandering and lecherous young man who pursued rather lustful affairs, end quote. During the production phase, threats from the production code offices heightened once they saw Billy Dove's revealing gowns. They were also very concerned about scenes that involved sexual innuendo and explicit canoodling between Lieutenant Craig and many of his conquests. Despite continued warnings, Hughes held his ground and did not change, remove, or alter anything. The warnings culminated on the eve of the film's release in January 1932, when the official board of the Production Code Administration deemed Cock of the Air in full violation of the code. Despite an official appeal, Hughes finally relents, orders the cuts, removing the raciest and most entertaining elements from the film. The censored version received a lukewarm response by critics and audiences. Since 1932, Cock of the Air has been somewhat forgotten until the Academy Film Archive received a donation of 2 film elements in 2007 from film collector and archivist Jeff Joseph. One element was a 35mm nitrate print with no sound containing the uncensored picture for Cock of the Air. A second element, a soundtrack, contained the censored version of the film. The track was missing 12 minutes of cut audio. These elements were a very exciting discovery. We just needed to find those 12 minutes of audio. After an extensive multi-year search inquiring with film archives and other institutions across the world, nothing turned up. However, during our worldwide search, we did uncover a script that contained the lost dialogue. Could we use the script and have contemporary actors speak the lines in the spirit of the original performances and incorporate those new recordings into the restoration? After some initial tests, we knew it was possible. With the help and generous assistance of Academy member and casting director David Rubin, we reached out to 4 actors who were enthusiastic about providing their voices to breathe life back into the lost vocal performances. I'd like to thank actors Hamish Linklater, who steps in for Chester Morris, Marin Hinkle for her assistance to Billy Dove, as well as J.B. Blank and Ever Carradine for their unwavering dedication and incredible talents that truly shine in this restoration. As I mentioned earlier, not only were the voices a new addition, new music and effects had to be recreated as well. Thanks to the talents of audio engineer Daryl Frame, we were able to recreate sound effects. One of the most creative solutions Daryl came up with was to record the sounds of metal film cans clanging against one another to simulate the sounds of the metal suit of armor you will see Billy Dove walking around in. I'd also like to thank Chief Audio Engineer John Polito for his work on the restoration of the entire soundtrack of the film. John also provided a new piano score for one of the censored scenes where Billy sings to Chester while playing the piano. Part of this scene was censored, so John was able to watch the first part over and over to learn and become familiar with the melody. John recorded this part himself, and you will hear his brief interpretation of the song in the restoration. And anytime today there's a censored moment, you'll be able to follow along with the assistance of a little icon that looks like it'll look like a film frame, kind of an opaque film frame, in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. The censorship cuts vary from a single word, a single line, to a 4-minute sequence. And when you see these cuts, you will find the violations of the code be very tame by modern standards. You will also be surprised to see what they did not censor. Like Billy Dove's low cut dresses, which leave very little to the imagination. Which leads me to end with one of the best descriptions of this film I've ever read. It comes from film historian David Bordwell, who viewed the restoration recently. David states that Cock of the Air, quote, amply showcases Howard Hughes's two principal concerns: aviation and female mammary glands. I guess technically that makes 3 concerns. Now let's view the film the way Howard Hughes intended. Here is Cock of the Air.